My students had never read a book from cover to cover, nor did they intend to. They hated reading, they hated writing, and the only thing that seemed to bring them together in perfect harmony was they really hated me, this perky, annoying person with my polka dots and my pearls. And if you don't believe me, I'd like to show you a brief clip to show you what that first day was like and what my students thought of their teacher, this cheerleader from hell.
Looking around at them, it was like looking at nothing, because I didn't care.
A lot of the students were just bad, you know? And I didn't expect Erin to try to teach us anything. I knew that she was nothing more than a babysitter.
It was very evident that they didn't want to be there. I could walk into my classroom and I could tell who's pissed off, who's jaded, who's hungry, who's bored, who can't wait to get out of here, who hates my guts. It's easy to be perceptive and to be in the moment. But to be in the moment, you have to be vulnerable. I had to walk in there and not have a guard up.
I think anybody in that situation, you gotta be scared out of your mind. You have to be scared out of your mind. Have to be. Have to be. Because not only are you dealing with people that don't care that you're a teacher, they don't care about you. It's personal.
It's personal. So looking at these students, I realized, how can I get them to put down that fist, to put down that spray can, or worse yet, put down that gun? Because in my classroom, I had students who just came from juvenile hall, had ankle monitors around their leg, and a probation officer. Students who just came from rehab for crystal meth or crack cocaine. And so what I try to do is to figure out, how can I teach my students that they have a story? Because we all have a story. So I decided that we were gonna play a game that was anything but a game. And I was gonna simply put this piece of tape down the center of my floor and ask my students questions. And hopefully that line could be a gravitational pull. And as my students would stand on that line, I would know where they stood. I would know their story. All of them knew what it felt like to go home and the lights have been turned off again. There's no food in that fridge again. And those hardworking single moms with those cockroaches and those roaches were never gonna get ahead. Most of my students knew what it felt like to be homeless, to be picked on. Most of my students had been bullied or were the bullier. Most of my students had visited somebody in juvenile hall or jail or prison, or themselves had been there. But the most disturbing question that I asked my students was if they had ever lost somebody. And as student after student stood in a line, I realized that is our story. Because to be 14 and to go through your entire life feeling like you have a bullseye on your chest, to be 14 and to look over your shoulder and wonder and wish, am I gonna make it home to see that hardworking single mom again? To be 14 and to be numb and anesthetized to your future. So I wanted to teach my students to have a voice. And maybe they couldn't change the cast of characters they were dealt. But maybe if the pen was mightier than the sword, maybe, just maybe, they could rewrite their own ending.